The Art of Critical Thinking, written and published by Ngasline. Critical thinking stands as one of the most valuable skills in our modern world, yet it remains widely misunderstood. At its core, critical thinking is the disciplined art of ensuring that we use the best thinking we are capable of in any given situation. It goes far beyond the common misconception that it simply means being critical or finding fault with others' ideas. Instead, it encompasses a rich tapestry of skills, attitudes, and approaches that enable us to navigate complexity and make better decisions. The foundation of critical thinking begins with understanding that it is both an active and reflective process. When we think critically, we consciously examine our thought processes, question our assumptions, and evaluate the evidence that shapes our beliefs. This metacognitive awareness, thinking about our thinking, forms the bedrock of all critical thinking practices. Many people believe they are naturally good critical thinkers, but research shows that effective critical thinking requires deliberate development and practice. It demands intellectual humility, the willingness to recognize that our initial thoughts and reactions might be incomplete or incorrect. This mindset opens the door to deeper understanding and more nuanced perspectives. The core principles of critical thinking include objectivity, logic, and evidence-based reasoning. Objectivity requires us to separate our emotional responses from our analytical processes, allowing us to evaluate information more clearly. Logic provides the framework for connecting ideas and drawing valid conclusions. Evidence-based reasoning ensures that our judgments are grounded in verifiable facts rather than assumptions or hearsay. A crucial framework for critical thinking involves the interplay between analysis and synthesis. Analysis breaks down complex ideas into their constituent parts, allowing us to understand how different elements relate to each other. Synthesis brings these elements back together in new ways, enabling us to see larger patterns and generate innovative solutions. This dual process helps us avoid oversimplification while maintaining a comprehensive view of the situation at hand. Another fundamental aspect of critical thinking is the recognition of context. No idea exists in isolation. Every concept, argument, or piece of evidence exists within a broader framework of circumstances, cultural factors, and historical precedents. Understanding these contextual elements helps us evaluate information more accurately and apply our insights more effectively. The development of critical thinking skills requires us to overcome several natural cognitive tendencies. Our brains are wired for quick judgments and pattern recognition, which served our ancestors well but can lead to hasty conclusions in today's complex world. Conscious effort is needed to slow down our thinking process, consider alternative viewpoints, and resist the urge to jump to conclusions. Critical thinking also encompasses the ability to identify and challenge assumptions, both our own and those presented by others. These assumptions often operate beneath the surface of our conscious awareness, silently shaping our perspectives and decisions. By bringing them into the light of conscious examination, we can evaluate their validity and adjust our thinking accordingly. The practical application of critical thinking involves specific skills and techniques. These include the ability to analyze arguments, evaluate evidence, recognize logical fallacies, and construct well-reasoned positions. It also involves developing a systematic approach to problem solving, where we can break down complex challenges into manageable components and address them methodically. As we build our critical thinking foundation, we must also recognize that it is not a solitary pursuit. Effective critical thinking often involves collaboration, discussion, and the willingness to engage with diverse perspectives. This social dimension of critical thinking helps us test our ideas, uncover blind spots, and refine our understanding through dialogue with others. The journey to becoming a skilled critical thinker starts with embracing these foundational elements and committing to their regular practice. It requires patience, persistence, and the understanding that developing these skills is a gradual process of improvement rather than an immediate transformation. By building on these foundations, we prepare ourselves to tackle increasingly complex challenges and make more thoughtful, well-reasoned decisions in all aspects of our lives. Question everything. The foundation of transformative critical thinking begins with questioning, not just the world around us, but our own deeply held beliefs and assumptions. This systematic approach to doubt serves as a powerful tool for uncovering truth and developing a deeper understanding of complex issues. The practice of questioning everything isn't about becoming cynical or dismissive. Rather, it's about developing a healthy, productive skepticism that leads to better decision-making and clearer thinking. When we question our beliefs, we often discover that many of them were inherited from our environment, family, culture, or early experiences, rather than being consciously chosen. These inherited beliefs may have served us well in the past, but they might not align with our current understanding or circumstances. By examining these beliefs through careful questioning, we can determine which ones truly serve us and which ones need to be updated or discarded. Productive skepticism differs from cynicism in its constructive nature. While cynics might dismiss new ideas outright, productive skeptics engage with them through structured questioning. This approach involves asking specific, targeted questions that help reveal the underlying assumptions, evidence, and reasoning behind any claim or belief. Questions like what evidence supports this? What alternative explanations might exist? And how might I be wrong about this? Form the backbone of this investigative process. The art of questioning extends beyond just asking questions. It's about asking the right questions in the right way. Effective questioning techniques start with open-ended inquiries that encourage exploration and discussion rather than simple yes or no answers. These questions should probe deeper into assumptions, evidence, and reasoning. For instance, instead of asking, "Is this true?" we might ask, "What evidence would we need to see to consider this true?" This subtle shift changes the nature of the inquiry from binary to exploratory. Developing this questioning mindset requires practice and patience. It begins with small steps, questioning one assumption at a time, examining familiar beliefs with fresh eyes, and being willing to hold multiple possibilities in mind simultaneously. This process can be uncomfortable at first, as it often challenges our existing worldview and forces us to confront our own biases and limitations. One powerful technique is the 5 whys approach, where you repeatedly ask why to dig deeper into the root causes of beliefs or problems. This method helps peel back layers of assumption and reveal core truths that might otherwise remain hidden. For example, if you believe strongly in a particular political position, asking yourself why 5 times can help you understand the fundamental values and experiences that shape your viewpoint. Questioning everything also means being willing to examine the questions themselves. Are we asking the right questions? Are our questions based on valid assumptions? Are they helping us reach better understanding, or are they leading us down unproductive paths? This meta level of questioning helps ensure that our inquiry process remains effective and purposeful. The practice of systematic doubt should extend to various aspects of life, from personal beliefs and decisions to professional judgments and social issues. In the workplace, questioning conventional wisdom can lead to innovation and improved processes. In personal relationships, thoughtful questioning can lead to deeper understanding and stronger connections. In civic life, questioning popular narratives and examining evidence can lead to more informed citizenship. Questioning everything doesn't mean rejecting everything. The goal is to understand more deeply, to uncover truth, and to build more solid foundations for our beliefs and decisions. Through consistent practice of productive skepticism and systematic questioning, we develop stronger critical thinking skills and become better equipped to navigate an increasingly complex world. This questioning mindset becomes particularly powerful when combined with other critical thinking tools and approaches. By integrating systematic doubt with careful analysis, evidence evaluation, and logical reasoning, we create a robust framework for understanding and decision-making that serves us well in all aspects of life. Understanding correlation Vs. In our daily lives, we frequently encounter situations where 2 events appear to be connected. Perhaps you've noticed that whenever you wear your lucky socks, your favorite sports team wins, or that crime rates increase during ice cream sales. While these observations might seem meaningful, they illustrate one of the most crucial concepts in critical thinking, the distinction between correlation and causation. Correlation simply means that two variables tend to occur together or follow similar patterns. When we observe a correlation, we're noticing that things happen in conjunction with each other, either increasing together, decreasing together, or moving in opposite directions. Causation, on the other hand, indicates that one event directly brings about another. This distinction is fundamental because humans naturally seek patterns and meanings, often leading us to assume causation where only correlation exists. Consider the classic example of ice cream sales and crime rates. While both tend to increase during summer months, it would be incorrect to conclude that ice cream consumption causes criminal behavior or vice versa. Instead, a third factor, warmer weather, influences both variables independently. This scenario demonstrates what statisticians call a spurious correlation, where two variables appear related but have no meaningful causal connection. Understanding this distinction helps us avoid numerous logical fallacies that can cloud our judgment. The post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy, after this, therefore because of this, is particularly common. We might assume that because event B followed event A must have caused B. For instance, if you get a promotion after buying new shoes, it would be fallacious to attribute your career success to your footwear choice. To identify true causal relationships, we need to apply rigorous analytical methods. Scientists use controlled experiments, statistical analyses, and systematic observation to establish causation. The Bradford-Hill criteria, developed for epidemiological research, provide a useful framework. Strength of association, consistency, specificity, temporality, biological gradient, plausibility, coherence, experimental evidence, and analogy. While not all these criteria apply to every situation, they illustrate the complexity of proving causation. Real-world applications of this understanding are numerous and significant. In business, leaders must determine whether marketing campaigns actually drive sales increases or if other factors are responsible. Healthcare professionals need to distinguish between treatments that truly affect outcomes and those that merely coincide with natural recovery. Policymakers must evaluate whether specific interventions cause desired social changes or if improvements stem from unrelated factors. The digital age has amplified the importance of this distinction. With vast amounts of data available, we can find correlations between almost anything. Websites dedicated to spurious correlations showcase amusing examples, like the correlation between cheese consumption and people dying by becoming tangled in their bedsheets. These examples, while entertaining, serve as important reminders about the danger of confusing correlation with causation. To apply this knowledge effectively, we must develop a systematic approach to analyzing relationships between events. This includes identifying potential confounding variables, considering alternative explanations, and seeking evidence that specifically supports or refutes causal connections. We should ask questions like, what other factors might influence these variables? How can we test our causal hypothesis? What would disprove our assumed connection? Critical thinkers must also recognize that establishing causation often requires multiple types of evidence and approaches. A single study or observation rarely provides definitive proof of causation. Instead, we build understanding through accumulated evidence, replication of results, and careful consideration of alternative explanations. By mastering the distinction between correlation and causation, we enhance our ability to make sound decisions, evaluate claims, and understand complex relationships in our world. This knowledge protects us from faulty reasoning and helps us focus our efforts on addressing true causes rather than coincidental correlations. The open mind advantage. The journey to becoming a skilled critical thinker begins with cultivating an open mind. Intellectual humility, the cornerstone of open-mindedness, involves recognizing that our knowledge is limited and that we can learn from any situation or person. This quality allows us to approach new ideas and perspectives without prejudice, creating opportunities for growth and deeper understanding. Being wrong is often seen as a negative experience, but it presents one of the most powerful learning opportunities available to us. When we embrace our mistakes and view them as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks, we develop a more nuanced understanding of the world. This mindset shift transforms the emotional sting of being wrong into an exciting chance for personal and intellectual development. Consider how scientific breakthroughs often emerge from failed experiments. Scientists who remain open to unexpected results sometimes discover entirely new phenomena. Cognitive flexibility represents another crucial aspect of maintaining an open mind. This skill allows us to adapt our thinking patterns and approaches based on new information or changing circumstances. Like a tree that bends with the wind rather than breaking, cognitive flexibility helps us navigate complex situations and find innovative solutions to problems. It involves the ability to switch between different modes of thinking, consider multiple perspectives simultaneously, and adjust our mental frameworks as needed. One of the greatest challenges to open-mindedness is confirmation bias, our natural tendency to seek out information that supports our existing beliefs while dismissing contradictory evidence. This bias can create intellectual blind spots that limit our understanding and decision-making abilities. Overcoming confirmation bias requires conscious effort and regular practice in seeking out diverse viewpoints, especially those that challenge our current beliefs. Developing an open mind also involves cultivating curiosity about different viewpoints and experiences. When we encounter ideas that differ from our own, instead of immediately dismissing them, we can ask ourselves what we might learn from these alternative perspectives. This approach often reveals valuable insights we might have missed through a more closed-minded stance. The practice of perspective taking strengthens our ability to maintain an open mind. By deliberately trying to understand how others view situations, we expand our own mental horizons and develop greater empathy. This skill proves particularly valuable in professional settings where different stakeholders may have varying priorities and concerns that need to be considered for optimal decision-making. An open mind also requires emotional intelligence and self-awareness. We must recognize our own emotional reactions and biases when encountering new ideas or information that challenges our existing beliefs. By acknowledging these emotional responses without letting them control our thinking, we can maintain objectivity while processing new information. Building an open mind involves creating regular habits that support intellectual growth. Reading diverse sources of information, engaging in conversations with people who hold different views, and actively seeking out new experiences all contribute to developing this crucial skill. These practices help break down mental barriers and expose us to new ways of thinking and understanding the world. The advantages of maintaining an open mind extend far beyond improved critical thinking. People with open minds tend to be more creative, better at problem solving, and more adaptable to change. They often experience richer personal relationships and greater success in professional environments where innovation and flexibility are valued. Developing an open mind is an ongoing process rather than a destination. Each day presents new opportunities to practice these skills and challenge our existing mental frameworks. By embracing intellectual humility, learning from our mistakes, cultivating cognitive flexibility, and actively working to overcome confirmation bias, we can unlock the full potential of critical thinking and achieve more meaningful breakthroughs in both our personal and professional lives. Breaking down complex problems. Complex problems can often seem overwhelming at first glance, but they become more manageable when approached with the right analytical tools and mindset. The art of breaking down complex problems into smaller, more digestible components is a crucial skill that separates effective critical thinkers from those who struggle with decision-making and problem-solving. The process begins with problem decomposition, a systematic approach that involves identifying the core elements of a challenge. When faced with a complex situation, start by clearly defining the problem statement. This initial step helps create boundaries and establishes what you're trying to achieve. Rather than attempting to tackle the entire issue at once, divide it into smaller, interconnected pieces that can be analyzed individually. Consider a business trying to improve its overall performance. Instead of viewing it as one massive challenge, break it down into distinct areas such as operations, marketing, finance, and human resources. Each component can then be further subdivided. Operations might include supply chain, efficiency, production quality, and inventory management. This systematic breakdown makes the problem more approachable and allows for focused attention on specific areas that need improvement. Decision-making frameworks provide structure to this analytical process. The Mies principle, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive, ensures that problem components don't overlap while covering all relevant aspects. This approach prevents redundancy and helps ensure no critical elements are overlooked. Another useful framework is the issue tree method, which creates a hierarchical breakdown of the problem, starting with the main issue and branching into increasingly detailed subcomponents. Systematic analysis methods play a vital role in processing these broken-down components. The 5 whys technique, for instance, helps identify root causes by repeatedly asking why until the fundamental source of the problem is revealed. This method prevents surface-level analysis and ensures solutions address underlying issues rather than just symptoms. Problem-solving strategies become more effective when combined with visual tools. Mind mapping can help illustrate relationships between different components, while flowcharts can track processes and identify bottlenecks. These visual representations often reveal patterns and connections that might not be apparent when dealing with the problem as a whole. Time management becomes crucial when dealing with complex problems. After breaking down the issue, prioritize which components to address first. Some elements might have dependencies on others, while some might be more urgent or have a greater impact on the overall solution. Creating a structured timeline for tackling each component helps maintain momentum and prevents feeling overwhelmed. Critical thinking tools like the Pareto principle can help identify which aspects deserve the most attention. Often, 80s of the problem's impact comes from 20 of its components. By focusing on these high-impact areas first, you can achieve significant progress while maintaining efficiency in your problem-solving approach. Documentation plays a vital role in complex problem-solving. As you break down and analyze each component, maintain clear records of your findings, assumptions, and decisions. This documentation serves multiple purposes. It helps track progress, allows for review and adjustment of your approach, and provides valuable reference material for similar problems in the future. The ability to synthesize solutions is as important as the breakdown process. Once individual components have been analyzed and addressed, they must be reconnected into a coherent solution. This synthesis phase requires careful consideration of how different elements interact and influence each other. A solution that works for one component might have unintended consequences for another, making it essential to maintain a holistic perspective while working on specific parts. Breaking down complex problems is an iterative process. As you analyze individual components, new insights might emerge that require adjusting your initial breakdown or approach. Maintain flexibility and be prepared to revisit and refine your problem decomposition as your understanding develops. This adaptability, combined with systematic analysis and structured problem-solving frameworks, forms the foundation of effective complex problem management. The power of thought awareness. Our minds are constantly working, processing information, making decisions, and forming judgments, yet we rarely pause to examine how we think. Thought awareness, or metacognition, is the cornerstone of advanced critical thinking. It's the practice of understanding and analyzing our own thought processes, and it's essential for developing stronger analytical skills and making better decisions. Mental models shape how we interpret and interact with the world around us. These frameworks are built from our experiences, education, and beliefs, acting as filters through which we process new information. While mental models can be incredibly useful in helping us navigate complex situations quickly, they can also limit our perspective and lead us astray when they're outdated or inappropriate for the situation at hand. Cognitive biases represent another crucial aspect of thought awareness. These systematic errors in thinking affect everyone, from novices to experts. Consider the confirmation bias, where we tend to seek out information that supports our existing beliefs while dismissing contradictory evidence. Another common bias is the availability heuristic, where we overestimate the likelihood of events based on how easily they come to mind. Recognition of these biases is the first step toward mitigating their influence on our decision-making process. Developing thought awareness requires consistent practice and dedication. One effective approach is to maintain a thinking journal where you document your decision-making processes and reflect on the underlying assumptions that guide your choices. This practice helps identify patterns in your thinking and reveals areas where cognitive biases might be affecting your judgment. Metacognition goes beyond simple self-reflection. It involves actively monitoring our thinking processes while engaged in problem-solving or learning activities. When facing a complex decision, practicing metacognition means asking questions like, what assumptions am I making? What evidence supports or challenges my current perspective? How might my emotional state be influencing my analysis? Reshaping thought patterns is perhaps the most challenging aspect of thought awareness. Our brains are wired to follow familiar neural pathways, making it difficult to break free from established thinking patterns. However, through deliberate practice and conscious effort, we can develop new mental habits that promote more objective and analytical thinking. One powerful technique for reshaping thought patterns is the pause and plan approach. When confronted with a situation that triggers automatic thoughts or reactions, deliberately pause to examine your thinking process. This brief moment of reflection creates space for more considered responses and helps break the cycle of habitual thinking. Understanding the role of emotions in our thinking process is also crucial. While emotions shouldn't be dismissed or suppressed, being aware of their influence on our judgment helps us make more balanced decisions. Emotional awareness allows us to recognize when feelings might be clouding our judgment and take steps to maintain objectivity. The practice of thought awareness extends to recognizing and challenging our implicit biases. These unconscious attitudes and stereotypes can significantly impact our decision-making without our awareness. Regular self-examination and exposure to diverse perspectives help identify and address these hidden biases. Building strong thought awareness requires creating feedback loops in our thinking process. This means regularly reviewing our decisions and their outcomes, analyzing what worked and what didn't, and adjusting our mental models accordingly. This iterative process helps refine our thinking patterns and improves the quality of our decision-making over time. The power of thought awareness lies in its ability to transform our thinking from an automatic process to a conscious, deliberate activity. By understanding our mental models, recognizing cognitive biases, and actively engaging in metacognition, we can develop more sophisticated critical thinking skills. This heightened awareness of our thought processes empowers us to make better decisions, solve problems more effectively, and continue growing as critical thinkers. Evidence-based decision-making. In today's information-rich world, the ability to make decisions based on solid evidence has become more crucial than ever. Evidence-based decision-making forms the cornerstone of critical thinking, enabling us to navigate through the maze of conflicting information and arrive at well-reasoned conclusions. The foundation of evidence-based decision-making lies in our ability to evaluate information quality. Not all sources are created equal, and distinguishing reliable information from misleading content requires a systematic approach. When examining any claim or piece of information, we must consider the source's credibility, potential biases, and underlying motivations. Academic journals, peer-reviewed research, and established institutions typically provide more reliable information than anonymous online sources or unverified claims on social media. Data interpretation skills play a vital role in evidence-based decision-making. Raw data can be misleading without proper context and understanding. We need to look beyond surface-level numbers and consider factors such as sample size, methodology, and statistical significance. For instance, a study showing a correlation between two variables might seem convincing, but without proper statistical analysis and consideration of confounding factors, we might draw incorrect conclusions. Fact-checking has emerged as an essential skill in our digital age. With the proliferation of misinformation and fake news, we must develop robust fact-checking methods. This involves cross-referencing information across multiple reliable sources, verifying dates and contexts, and examining original documents when possible. Professional fact-checking organizations and tools can serve as valuable resources, but developing our own fact-checking abilities remains essential. Building strong arguments requires more than just gathering evidence. It demands careful analysis and logical structuring of information. A well-constructed argument should include clear premises supported by relevant evidence, logical reasoning that connects these premises to conclusions, and consideration of potential counter-arguments. We must also be prepared to adjust our arguments when new evidence emerges, demonstrating intellectual honesty and commitment to truth-seeking. The process of evidence-based decision-making often involves dealing with uncertainty and incomplete information. We must learn to assess the quality of available evidence and make informed judgments about its reliability and applicability to our specific situation. This might mean acknowledging gaps in our knowledge and being transparent about the limitations of our conclusions. Practical application of evidence-based decision-making requires developing specific skills and habits. We should regularly question our sources of information, seek out diverse perspectives, and maintain healthy skepticism without becoming cynical. When evaluating evidence, we must consider both quantitative and qualitative data, understanding that different types of evidence might be appropriate for different situations. Critical thinking in evidence-based decision-making also involves recognizing and accounting for our own biases. We might naturally gravitate toward evidence that confirms our existing beliefs while dismissing contradictory information. Overcoming these biases requires conscious effort and regular self-reflection. Documentation and organization of evidence play a crucial role in this process. Keeping track of sources, maintaining clear records of our research, and organizing information systematically helps us build stronger arguments and make more informed decisions. This systematic approach also makes it easier to share our reasoning with others and receive constructive feedback. The digital age has provided us with powerful tools for evidence-based decision-making. Online databases, academic search engines, and fact-checking websites can significantly enhance our ability to gather and verify information. However, these tools must be used wisely, with an understanding of their limitations and potential biases. Evidence-based decision-making is not just about arriving at correct conclusions. It's about developing a systematic approach to understanding and evaluating information. This skill becomes increasingly valuable in both personal and professional contexts, enabling us to make better decisions and contribute more effectively to discussions and problem-solving efforts. The art of productive disagreement. Disagreement often carries a negative connotation in our society, but when approached skillfully, it can become one of the most powerful catalysts for growth, innovation, and deeper understanding. The art of productive disagreement lies in transforming potentially contentious situations into opportunities for mutual learning and advancement of ideas. At its core, productive disagreement requires a fundamental shift in mindset. Instead of viewing disagreements as battles to be won, we must approach them as collaborative explorations of truth. This begins with recognizing that different perspectives often arise from varying experiences, knowledge bases, and ways of processing information. When we acknowledge this reality, we can move beyond the primitive impulse to defend our position and instead engage in meaningful dialogue. Active listening serves as the foundation for productive disagreement. This means fully attending to what others are saying rather than simply waiting for our turn to speak. It involves observing nonverbal cues, seeking clarification when needed, and demonstrating genuine curiosity about others' viewpoints. Through active listening, we often discover that what initially appeared to be stark disagreements are actually misunderstandings or different approaches to the same goal. Effective debate strategies play a crucial role in productive disagreement. This doesn't mean employing aggressive tactics or seeking to overwhelm opponents with rhetoric. Instead, it involves clearly articulating our positions, supporting them with evidence and remaining open to counter-arguments. A skilled debater knows how to present alternative viewpoints without diminishing others' perspectives, using phrases like "I see it differently." Or another way to look at this might be rather than dismissive or confrontational language. Finding common ground represents another vital aspect of productive disagreement. Even in seemingly polarized situations, there usually exists some shared understanding or mutual interest. Identifying these areas of agreement creates a foundation for exploring differences constructively. This might involve acknowledging shared goals while discussing different methods to achieve them, or recognizing common values while debating their practical application. Emotional intelligence plays a crucial role in managing disagreements productively. This includes recognizing and managing our own emotional responses while remaining sensitive to others' feelings. When emotions run high, taking brief pauses or redirecting conversation to areas of agreement can help maintain a constructive atmosphere. It's essential to remember that strong emotions often signal deeply held values or concerns that deserve attention and respect. The structure of productive disagreement also matters significantly. Setting ground rules for discussion, ensuring equal speaking time, and establishing clear objectives help create a framework for meaningful exchange. This might include agreements about avoiding personal attacks, staying focused on the issue at hand, and working toward specific outcomes rather than endless debate. Cultural awareness and sensitivity enhance our ability to engage in productive disagreement across different backgrounds and perspectives. Different cultures may have varying approaches to conflict and communication, and understanding these differences helps avoid misunderstandings and builds bridges across divides. Productive disagreement also requires the courage to change our minds when presented with compelling evidence or arguments. This doesn't indicate weakness. Rather, it demonstrates intellectual maturity and commitment to truth, seeking over ego protection. Acknowledging when others make valid points strengthens, rather than diminishes our credibility. The skills of productive disagreement extend beyond formal debates or workplace discussions. They apply to personal relationships, community engagement, and social discourse. In an era of increasing polarization, the ability to disagree productively becomes increasingly valuable for maintaining social cohesion and advancing collective understanding. Through practicing these principles, we transform disagreement from a source of conflict into a tool for growth and innovation. Each productive disagreement becomes an opportunity to expand our understanding, refine our thinking, and build stronger relationships based on mutual respect and shared commitment to truth. Seeking. Beyond first impressions. Our initial judgments often feel right, but the art of critical thinking demands we look deeper than surface-level observations. First impressions, while valuable as starting points, can be misleading and heavily influenced by our pre-existing biases, emotional state, and limited information. The ability to move beyond these initial reactions and conduct thorough analysis is crucial for making better decisions and understanding complex situations. When we encounter new information or situations, our brains naturally form quick judgments as a survival mechanism. This instantaneous processing, while helpful in some situations, can lead us astray when dealing with complex modern challenges. To develop deeper understanding, we must train ourselves to pause and consider multiple layers of analysis. This involves examining not just the immediate effects of a situation, but also its secondary and tertiary consequences. Consider a city's decision to implement a new public transportation system. At first glance, it might seem like a straightforward solution to reduce traffic congestion. However, deeper analysis reveals cascading effects. Changes in property values along the transit routes, shifts in local business dynamics, environmental impacts, and alterations in community social patterns. Each of these secondary consequences creates its own ripple effects, forming a complex web of interconnected outcomes that might not be apparent during initial consideration. Alternative perspectives play a crucial role in moving beyond first impressions. Each stakeholder in a situation brings unique viewpoints shaped by their experiences, knowledge, and positions. A business owner a resident, and a city planner might all view the same urban development project through dramatically different lenses. By actively seeking out and understanding these varied perspectives, we can build a more comprehensive understanding of any situation. Challenging initial assumptions is perhaps the most powerful tool for moving beyond first impressions. Our assumptions often operate invisibly, shaping our thinking without our awareness. By deliberately identifying and questioning these assumptions, we can uncover blind spots in our analysis. For instance, we might assume that technological solutions always lead to improved efficiency, but this assumption might prevent us from seeing potential downsides or alternative approaches. The depth of analysis required to move beyond first impressions demands both patience and structure. One effective approach is to use the 5 whys technique, where you repeatedly ask why something occurs until you reach root causes. Another method is to create scenario maps that explore different possible outcomes and the interconnections. These tools help ensure that our analysis goes beyond surface-level understanding. Time perspectives also play a crucial role in deep analysis. Short-term effects often differ significantly from long-term consequences. What might seem beneficial in the immediate future could lead to unforeseen complications over time. Conversely, actions that appear costly or difficult in the short term might yield substantial benefits when viewed through a longer lens. Cultural and contextual awareness further enriches our ability to move beyond first impressions. Different cultures may interpret the same situation in vastly different ways, and what works in one context might fail in another. This understanding helps us avoid quick judgments based on our own cultural assumptions and encourages more nuanced analysis. The practice of moving beyond first impressions requires regular exercise of our analytical muscles. We can start with small daily situations, questioning our initial reactions and seeking deeper understanding. As this habit strengthens, we become better equipped to handle more complex challenges and make more informed decisions. Developing this skill also involves recognizing that perfect analysis is impossible. The goal isn't to eliminate first impressions entirely, but to use them as starting points for deeper investigation. By maintaining awareness of our initial judgments while actively seeking additional layers of understanding, we can make more balanced and thoughtful decisions in both personal and professional contexts. Connecting knowledge. The ability to connect different pieces of knowledge across various domains is perhaps one of the most powerful aspects of critical thinking. In today's interconnected world, breakthrough innovations and solutions often emerge from the intersection of different fields and disciplines. Systems thinking forms the foundation of this connecting process, allowing us to see how different elements interact and influence each other within larger frameworks. When we develop our capacity for systems thinking, we begin to notice patterns and relationships that might otherwise remain hidden. These patterns exist everywhere, in nature, society, business, and personal relationships. By recognizing these recurring patterns, we can apply successful solutions from one domain to seemingly unrelated problems in another. For instance, the principles of ecosystem balance in nature can provide valuable insights into managing complex organizational dynamics in business. Pattern recognition goes beyond simple observation. It requires active engagement with information and a willingness to explore connections that might not be immediately obvious. Our brains are naturally wired to recognize patterns, but we must consciously cultivate this ability through practice and exposure to diverse knowledge areas. This might involve reading across different subjects, engaging with people from various backgrounds, or deliberately seeking out new experiences that challenge our existing mental models. The interdisciplinary approach to knowledge connects different fields of study to create new insights and solutions. This approach has led to numerous breakthrough innovations throughout history. For example, the field of biomimicry emerged when scientists and engineers began studying nature's solutions to complex problems and applying these principles to human technology. The development of Velcro was inspired by the way burrs stick to animal fur, while efficient solar panel designs have been influenced by the structure of butterfly wings. Knowledge synthesis is the process of combining different pieces of information to create new understanding. This involves more than simply accumulating facts. It requires actively processing and integrating information in meaningful ways. When we synthesize knowledge, we create mental frameworks that help us understand complex systems and solve intricate problems. These frameworks become more sophisticated and useful as we incorporate new information and perspectives. Developing strong connecting skills requires cultivation of certain habits and practices. Reading widely across different subjects helps build a diverse knowledge base that can fuel unexpected connections. Engaging in conversations with people from different backgrounds and expertise areas exposes us to new ways of thinking and novel approaches to problems. Keeping a curiosity journal or idea log can help capture potential connections and patterns for further exploration. The digital age has made it easier than ever to access information from various fields and make connections across disciplines. However, this abundance of information also presents challenges. We must develop strong filtering mechanisms to identify relevant and reliable information while remaining open to unexpected connections. Tools like mind mapping, concept mapping, and visual thinking can help organize and connect ideas in meaningful ways. Practicing knowledge connection involves actively looking for relationships between seemingly unrelated concepts. When encountering new information, ask questions like, "What does this remind me of? Where else have I seen similar patterns? How might this principle apply in different contexts?" These questions help train the mind to seek out meaningful connections and relationships. The ability to connect knowledge effectively also requires a balance between focus and breadth. While deep expertise in specific areas is valuable, maintaining awareness of broader contexts and relationships is equally important. This balance allows for both detailed understanding and the ability to see larger patterns and connections. Connecting knowledge is not about forcing relationships where none exist, but rather about developing the sensitivity and awareness to recognize meaningful patterns and relationships that can lead to new insights and solutions. This skill becomes increasingly valuable as our world grows more complex and interconnected, requiring solutions that bridge multiple domains and perspectives. Practical application. Critical thinking is only valuable when put into practice, and the true art lies in transforming theoretical knowledge into actionable behavior. The journey of implementing critical thinking skills into daily life begins with small, deliberate steps that gradually become natural habits. Recognizing opportunities for critical thinking in everyday situations is the first milestone in this transformation. Start by incorporating simple questioning techniques into your daily routines. When reading news articles, pause to examine the sources, consider alternative viewpoints, and question the underlying assumptions. During conversations, practice active listening and ask thoughtful questions that probe deeper into the subject matter. These small actions, when repeated consistently, build the foundation for stronger critical thinking habits. Creating a personal framework for decision-making helps streamline the implementation process. This might involve developing a set of standard questions you ask yourself when facing choices or establishing a systematic approach to evaluating information. The key is to make these processes automatic and natural, rather than feeling like additional cognitive burden. One effective way to build critical thinking habits is through deliberate practice exercises. Set aside time each day to analyze a complex problem, evaluate an argument, or explore different perspectives on a current event. These exercises can be as brief as 5 minutes or as extensive as an hour. Depending on your schedule and goals, the consistency of practice matters more than the duration. Implementing critical thinking in professional settings presents unique challenges and opportunities. In meetings, practice identifying assumptions and biases in proposed solutions. When working on projects, deliberately consider multiple approaches before settling on a course of action. Document your thought processes and decision-making rationales to help reinforce these habits and provide valuable reference points for future situations. Real-world implementation often faces obstacles such as time constraints, emotional reactions, and ingrained thinking patterns. Overcoming these challenges requires patience and persistence. Start by identifying specific situations where critical thinking tends to break down. then develop targeted strategies to address these weak points. For example, if emotional reactions often cloud your judgment, establish a cooling off period before making important decisions. Building new mental habits also involves creating supportive environments. Surround yourself with people who value critical thinking and engage in thoughtful discussion. Share your learning journey with others who can provide feedback and accountability. Consider joining or creating discussion groups where complex ideas can be explored and debated in a constructive manner. Technology can be leveraged to support critical thinking implementation. Use digital tools to track your thought processes, set reminders for regular reflection, and access resources for continued learning. However, be mindful that technology should enhance rather than replace personal analytical skills. The practical application of critical thinking extends beyond individual growth to influence those around you. As you develop stronger critical thinking habits, you naturally model these behaviors for others. This can create a ripple effect, encouraging colleagues, friends, and family members to adopt more thoughtful approaches to problem solving and decision-making. Measuring progress in critical thinking implementation can be challenging, but tracking specific indicators helps maintain motivation and direction. Notice how your decision-making processes evolve, how your conversations become more nuanced, and how your ability to analyze complex situations improves. Document instances where critical thinking led to better outcomes or new insights. Implementing critical thinking is a gradual process that requires commitment and adaptability. Each person's journey will be unique, influenced by their circumstances, goals, and starting point. The key is to maintain steady progress while being flexible enough to adjust approaches based on what works best for your situation. As you continue implementing critical thinking in your daily life, you'll discover that these skills become increasingly natural and automatic. The initial effort of conscious implementation gradually transforms into intuitive approaches to understanding and solving problems. This transformation marks the true success of practical application, where critical thinking becomes an integral part of how you navigate the world. The journey forward. Critical thinking is not a destination, but a continuous journey of growth and development. As we conclude this exploration of critical thinking principles and practices, it's essential to understand how to maintain and enhance these skills throughout our lives. The path forward involves creating sustainable habits, fostering environments that promote analytical thinking, and preparing for future challenges. Developing a long-term strategy for critical thinking begins with integrating these skills into your daily routine. This means actively seeking opportunities to apply analytical thinking in both personal and professional contexts. Whether you're reading news articles, engaging in workplace discussions, or making personal decisions, each moment presents an opportunity to exercise and strengthen your critical thinking muscles. Building a critical thinking culture extends beyond individual practice. In our interconnected world, the ability to foster environments that encourage questioning, analysis, and thoughtful discourse becomes increasingly important. This might involve mentoring others, creating discussion groups, or implementing critical thinking protocols in your workplace or community organizations. The future presents unique challenges that will require enhanced critical thinking capabilities. The rapid advancement of technology, particularly artificial intelligence and automation, means we must adapt our thinking skills to complement rather than compete with machines. This involves focusing on uniquely human aspects of critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, and complex problem solving that machines cannot replicate. Personal development in critical thinking requires regular self-assessment and adjustment. Set specific goals for areas where you want to improve, whether it's becoming better at evaluating evidence, enhancing your ability to see multiple perspectives, or strengthening your logical reasoning skills. Track your progress and adjust your approach based on what works best for you. Creating accountability systems can help maintain momentum in your critical thinking journey. This might involve finding a thinking partner who challenges your ideas, joining a mastermind group, or regularly documenting your thought processes and decisions. These systems help ensure continued growth and prevent falling back into lazy thinking patterns. The digital age presents both opportunities and challenges for critical thinking development. Online learning platforms, podcasts, and digital communities offer unprecedented access to knowledge and diverse perspectives. However, they also require enhanced discrimination skills to navigate misinformation and echo chambers. Developing digital literacy becomes an essential component of modern critical thinking. Professional development should incorporate critical thinking advancement. Seek roles and projects that challenge your analytical abilities and provide opportunities to learn from others who demonstrate strong critical thinking skills. Consider pursuing additional education or certification in areas that will strengthen your analytical capabilities. Maintaining intellectual curiosity is crucial for long-term critical thinking development. Stay informed about emerging trends and developments in various fields, even those outside your immediate area of expertise. This broader knowledge base enhances your ability to make connections and analyze situations from multiple angles. Resilience plays a vital role in the journey forward. You will encounter resistance to critical thinking, both from others and from your own ingrained habits. Learning to navigate these challenges while maintaining your commitment to thoughtful analysis is essential for long-term success. Your critical thinking journey should include regular reflection on how these skills impact your life and the lives of others. Consider how your enhanced analytical abilities contribute to better decision-making, improved relationships, and more effective problem-solving. This reflection helps maintain motivation and provides direction for further development. Critical thinking evolves as our world changes. Stay flexible in your approach and be willing to adapt your thinking methods as new challenges and opportunities arise. The future belongs to those who can think critically while remaining adaptable to change.